Odd meters.
Odd meters. Odd meters, like, and as it applies to Zeppelin, you don't hear it a lot. You hear it in four sticks, okay? You hear it in a couple other things. Like four sticks. And, but also, in general, odd meters. Now, here's the thing. Odd meters, usually when people think odd meters, I remember when I was younger and I first heard Rush, I thought it was cool, but it took me a minute kind of to grasp it because I really didn't hear it musically. Do you know what I mean? Like, it was always like, da 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 1 2 3 4 5 6 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 1 2 3 4 5 6 1. If you, it seems that British bands, kinda, I know it's like a cliche, I've read it, but it kind of seems true. British bands, a good example is Genesis, old Genesis. They really seem to incorporate odd meters more melodically and smoothly. It's not that Rush and other bands like that don't, but that's usually more like a rhythmic thing, whereas listen to older Genesis stuff, and you don't have to get like a good record, I think, to listen to get used to like 7s and stuff, and even like 13s, like da 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 da. I think they would consider 13 8, okay? Where it's, to me, it's kind of like a grouping of like 6 and then 7, okay? Da 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 da. That's 6. Da 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 7, okay? Genesis. Listen to a trick of the tail. Great record, but it has a lot of 7s and 6, like that type of 13 8 7, okay? Like ba da 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 da. Ba, 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 ba. There's 7, okay? Ba, ba, da, 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 da. To me, is more musical than like dung, 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 dung. I mean, that could just be my personal preference. But a good tip is just to subdivide them. Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Instead of like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, what? It's a little easier, okay? Another good one, very melodic and very, well, an ex-Genesis guy, left right before they did A Trick of the Tail, Peter Gabriel. The venerated Peter Gabriel. I love Peter Gabriel. I want to marry him. Salisbury Hill, okay? Ba, 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 ba. I think he does it at the end. Anyway, that's 7, okay? 1, 2, 3. Well, I shouldn't do that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. Okay. So I would recommend just listening to some of that older, like, British kind of stuff to kind of get it in your mind a little, okay? Because odd meters are kind of cool. They're not really palatable to most people, at least with pop. Like, I think if you wanted to kind of get your foot in the door with music, I would recommend maybe not doing an odd meter tune. Then again, I think Salisbury Hill was Gabriel's first huge hit, and it was on his first record, if I'm not mistaken. So, but that goes to show, though, I think that, you know, 7, the way he did it, when it's really melodic and worked into a song like that, instead of really, I mean, it's more built into the melody. I mean, I don't know how to quantify it, but then it is kind of just more robotically, okay? Like the Foo Fighters. And I did a video on their Times Like These. Okay? It's a 7, okay? I mean, just like the Rush. What is the Rush tune? Free Will. All right. There's another 7. Okay, a lot of 7s floating around. But Foo Fighters, Times Like These, that's very much sort of a mechanical, and I don't want to slant, I mean, it's sometimes odd meters in that fashion sometimes are more palatable, especially for rock, because it's not necessarily more melodic. It's just kind of a cool turnaround, okay? So, and what happens a lot in odd meters is because an odd meter, usually you have 4, right? Then you have 5, so there's an extra note in there. So, or 7, you have 4, and then there's an extra 3, okay? So you'll often have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, just to keep the pulse going. There's your pulse, right? Well, eventually, if you're doing 7s, it's got to be like. Okay, you gotta turn it around, right? So, and there's another really good tune. You know, I know it might sound crazy to a lot of people, but back in the 90s, there was a band called Spin Doctors, which on one hand, I hated them in a certain sense because they were all over the radio and because their popular songs drove me crazy. But they had some other songs on their records that I thought were like, damn, and they were good musicians. That drummer, I don't know whatever happened to that guy, but he was a great drummer. They had a song, Refrigerator Car. It went ba-da-little-lam, ba-dum-ba-dum-bum, blah, ba-da-little-lam, ba-dum-ba-dum-bum, blah, ba-da-little-lam, da-dum-da-bum-bum, blah, and then the ending was like ba-da-little-blum, ba-blum, 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 ba-ba-da-little-little, ba-bum, ba, okay? It was pretty effing cool, okay? So, ba-da-little-lam, da-dum-ba-dum-bum, ba, ba-da-little-lam, da-dum-da-dum-bum, ba, ba, okay? So that would be ba-da-little-lam, da-dum-ba-dum-bum, ba, that's 9, okay? Da 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 dum bum ba 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 boom boom ba. That's another kind of cool one too. That one's more of a mind screwer, kind of like a little bit, okay? So I would recommend, and this is just a quick video on odd meters, and it's my advice. I'm not like Bob Odd Meter. Do you know what I mean? I'm not. But it makes a little more sense if you think of them musically, and I think 7's probably one of the easiest to grasp. Probably because it's the most common. Again, like with Greek music and stuff, it seems like in older cultures in certain music that has existed, when an odd meter's worked in more melodically, it's easier to sort of grasp. You don't even really a lot of people might not even really realize Salisbury Hill is in 7. But ba 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 that's 7, okay? So, and here's another quickie. Now, this is an odd meter. Sometimes, well, it is. But sometimes when stuff is done in 5s, 5 is tricky, because for me personally, it's sort of really, kind of, it's something that I know I really have worked into my subconscious. Because there's a certain, maybe just because usually with 7, it's kind of easy, because you have 4, and then followed by 3. With 5, you have 4, but you can't really sometimes think of it that way, because then there's that bastard extra note, which is a pain in the ass. So sometimes they'll do like 2, 3, or they'll do 3, 2, okay? Sometimes I even think 1, 4. But like take 5, okay? Okay? You know what? Take 5, like bottom Zeppelin oriented, would be kind of cool. Imagine if you did like. And by the way, I don't think Dave Brubeck didn't write that song. Somebody else did a few years before, I think. Anyway, but then here's another 5. There is a song on Genesis's, and then there were 3, which came after. Well, then there were 3 of them, right? I mean, I think then what was the guitar player's name? God, guys are going to kill me. Great guitar player. Steve Hackett. He left the band. So you had the 3 dudesicles. You had Rutherford, Collins, and Banks, right? Well, and then there were 3, kind of really put, real quick aside, put them really on the map because they put Follow You, Follow Me on there. Okay? Which is, Which really listen to how smooth that tune is. Listen to Collins playing the drums there. That little, you know, he's stay with me, okay? But anyway, on that effing record, there's a song on there called Down and Out, okay? I think it began on a cassette originally, and it's one side of it begins with Down and Out. I'm not sure if it's the first side of the cassette or the second side. But it's it's in, you could say 5s or in 10, however you want to do it. Ba, 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 ba. It was to the point where I first heard that cassette, I thought my car cassette player was effed up. I was like, whoa, I thought it was eating the tape. Listen to it, Down and Out, okay? I mean, I thought that maybe when they recorded it, they were transferring it from like the 2-inch tape to whatever, the 1/2-inch or the 1/4 tape. Like back in those days, it was tape, right? I almost had visions of like Phil Collins or Mike Rutherford or somebody as they were transferring it, like every time that point came on, just like slightly touching the reel, like just to slow it down or something. I mean, it was like, I mean, it was crazy. Listen to it right now on YouTube. Open another window, Genesis Down and Out, and just listen to it, okay? That's an interesting one, because sometimes with odd meters, you can really sort of make it so, like it's intentionally kind of like intellectual, well, and brainy. Like you kind of have to really think about it. Sometimes it's, in a lot of bands when they do that, it is kind of pretentious. Like, let's do 19/8, you know? Not singling anybody out. God knows it's a bitch to play. But anyway, think of it that way. Think about, and this is like advice, okay? I'm not the odd meter guru, as I said. But my advice would be, if you want to just kind of get butter into it a little, start with 7s. Listen to a lot of A Trick of the Tail by Genesis. 1976, great record. A lot of Rush. Listen to a lot of mid-series Rush, or a lot of Rush. A lot of 7s in there. And you kind of just work it in, at least so you have an understanding of it, okay? My advice. So thanks for watching my videos. I have a few more on the way. And cold snap here, so be warm.